Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? We are here and we are making it happen. I want you guys to know that we're about to make a move today and have this beautiful woman bless your souls with this powerful information. And as she bless your souls with this powerful information, I just want you guys to know, if you don't know, this is Mecca, the microphone check 1 2 1 2. Right? So you know how I do. We bring you the information. We are focused on the author's visionary, the Visionaries Author Summit. That is next week. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to share you the link. I'm going to share my code so you can get 20% off your ticket. The ticket sells in on Sunday night, late Sunday night. So make sure, don't hesitate, don't procrastinate, because that is that space where we're not able to do what needs to be done. Okay? So I want you guys to know that you have to be able to do what needs to be done in order to move on or start as an author. I became an author literally during quarantine, and I still can't believe that. Like, I to this day, I can't believe it. I done wrote a book. I have a collaboration in a book. I can't believe that. Like, I wrote a journal. To this day, I can't believe it. I don't know where the feedback is coming from. I have a collaboration in a book. I can't believe that. Like, I hear feedback real quick. Right? Feedback is coming from. I have a collaboration in a book. See. I hear feedback real quick. Right? Feedback is coming from. I have a collaboration in a book. That's weird. Do you have a anything on?
No.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Do you have a anything on?
No, but you want me to jump out and back in again, see if that works?
Yeah, we may have to.
All right, let me
don't drop out.
Let me leave and come back in.
Stay on. Stay on. No, stay on. Okay. Oh, she came out. She's gonna come back in. There was some feedback. Not sure where it was coming from, but I just closed out some windows. It probably, I don't know.
All right.
There we go.
Oh, I purposely went out and came back in again. Did that help?
Okay. I think it stopped as soon as you but we good. I don't know what happened, but we making it happen. So here we go with the feedback and all. It's all good. We got this going. So I became an author during quarantine, which is amazing, and it's a blessing. And also on top of that, I wrote a book. I did a collaboration with a book, and I created a journal. You guys don't even know about that. I didn't even put that out there like that, but the journal is called the Yoma Method 360 Life Journal. It's on my website, the Yoma Method. You can go in the shop and purchase it. It's life-changing. I took everything that helped me get to where I'm at today to improve my life, not to be in the past from that space I was in before, to be in the space that I'm in now, to make things happen, to prioritize my goals and accomplish things, and not having things linger and not accomplish. As you can see, I'm busting the wall out of things, and that journal has a lot to do with it, because I've been using that for myself for the past few years, and I'm sharing it with you guys. But I want to introduce Dr. Robin Ashworth. She is an amazing editor, and she's also one of the speakers that are going to be at the Visionaries Authors Summit. And wait. Whether you catching this now or the replay, let me let you guys know something. Every book she edited has been bestseller. And that's including a book that I had a collaboration with a beautiful 10 authors, Blessed Not Broken. Literally, she's amazing, and she's about to bless y'all with some knowledge, and a workshop that she's going to teach at the Visionaries Author Summit is going to be amazing. Best believe that. And here we go. Robin, Dr. Robin, tell them about yourself. Let them know. Oh, wait, she's a yogi too.
Oh, yeah. I think maybe that's the most important thing we have in common. I mean, like, I love that you're blossoming as an author, and I love that you're opening and directing yourself in this new path. I think it's so exciting when people sort of embrace a new opportunity, a new career, that kind of thing. But your lifestyle, your yoga lifestyle, that's sort of like it's right up there with spirituality. It's certainly, and I love that we connect on that level. That just
I love it too.
But that said, I still work a day-to-day job for sure. I am a technical writer in a cybersecurity unit. Prior to that, for about 20 years, I was a teacher, a professor at Virginia Commonwealth University, and I should say instructor. I had the status of a visiting professor. I was not a tenured faculty member. But that said, I was there a long time, taught writing, became very seasoned in terms of being able to help other people cultivate voice and refine style and so forth. And in the course of doing that, I also became quite good at editing and helping to steer and direct other people's writing skill, helping them to cultivate and develop that. And interestingly enough, I started my professional life as a technical writer and editor. So lots and lots of experience doing that in multi-realm, professional, like a corporate realm, also the academic realm, and then more recently in sort of the nonprofit and then the self-publishing industry. So, yeah. And I look, if I turn my camera around my office, I mean, every wall is lined with books. So it's just that, writing, editing, reading, these are things that are just fundamental to my existence. So there you go.
You see that? Ain't that a blessing? Like, look at that. She really broke it down, and she doesn't just she's not just the editor. She does so much more. Like this is it. This is what people fail to understand. You can do so much more as long as you got that time management. I learned that a long time ago. Time management is important, and prioritizing is important, and that's how you're able to succeed what you need to succeed. And what makes a difference is that when you're able to accomplish what you need to accomplish, you feel much better. You feel actually fulfilled. I feel fulfilled because I'm able to accomplish stuff that I actually put my mind to,
right.
And I'm able to get it out the way and be like, next, whereas before, and I believe we was actually having like a conversation a while ago, and we were speaking about setting up, prioritizing, organizing, and doing things. And I'm open to speaking about how I was, but this is all from when I was in a space, right? When I lost my late husband, I was in that space where things I wanted to do, I couldn't do it. I tried to do it. And the reason why I couldn't do it is because I was still stuck in a space. And when you allow yourself to be stuck in a space, you're not able to prioritize and organize to actually do things. So
I'm going to say I'm also a big believer in allowing things to happen as they're supposed to. There's a phrase that people have used. I've heard it used periodically, referring to one's writing life. Like, when does your writing life begin? And for some people, it might begin at a pretty young age. Who knows? But for other folks, it might be that you need to live a little to have something to write about or to have that perspective. Not that I would ever wish tragedy on anyone, but the reality is we are all going to, carry a burden of some kind, go through some sort of trial, something that changes us, something that creates a perspective, something that we learn and then maybe want to pass along. So, one of the things I would say, and this is not about editing necessarily, but in terms of writing, if you think, oh gosh, I'm 40 years old, I'm 50 years old, heck, I'm 70 years old. And I just, it's too late to do that. Well, that's just baloney. That's too late. And your writing life might begin later in your life. That's okay.
Yep.
That's okay. So I would say, I would not be intimidated. If you feel, called to tell a story, then do it. It doesn't mean it's going to be a bestseller. That's okay. Sometimes it's just enough to get it out. You learn from it.
True.
And as far as doing things and getting things done and multiple priorities, I find that the more that I have to do, the better organized it forces me to become.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am definitely a list girl. Like, oh man, I get the biggest thrill out of crossing things off of a to-do list. Like, oh look,
It feels so good.
it does. It's like it's like a quantifiable thing that shows what you've accomplished in a day or in a week or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I do that at my job. I do that with household chores. I do that with, just things. I've even had wish lists. Like, I'd love to have this, and this done or accomplished or whatever. I've actually created wish lists like that. And, it's funny. I ran across one just the other day that I had made a little over a year ago and realized, oh my God, everything on that list is done. It's done. It is. It's tremendously empowering. It feels really good.
So you see that it does feel great to do these things and to actually accomplish what you need to accomplish, right? So what I want, I would love for Dr. Robin to kind of break down how she does her editing. She's not going to give you so much. I mean, I had experience with, like, I didn't have a good experience with my editing process. And when I started to learn more about editing, I really understood the concept, the how, but everybody does it differently, but there's a difference when you're doing it effectively and when you're doing it on a different space. And I understand what being an editor, sometimes what I noticed that some people do is utilize their own emotions. And I really want you to tap onto that as an editor, how I personally feel like it can affect the writing of the work if you using your own emotions, as far as in a negative sense versus a positive sense.
Okay. All right.
So I would really love for you to tap into that and then tell them also how you do what you do.
Yeah, that's a great foothold. And let me say this, that I just, in my editing life, I can remember the very first time I was asked to edit a document that someone else had written. This was in the context of a corporate job that I had, and I was asked just to do the editing, and that's what I did, without even thinking about who the writer was. My job was just to clean it up, make it good, and that's what I did. Unbeknownst to me, the person who wrote that document, who was older than I was, this is like my first job out of college. Well, it hurt that person's feelings for me to edit. And that really struck me. It struck me because I was like, I'm just doing my job here. I'm just, all I'm doing is, doing what I was asked to do. Like my boss said, edit this work, make it better, which I did, without taking into account that, so I will say that was really the first time that it was driven home to me that people are attached to their words and their stories. And, when you put a word on a page, you are giving something, like something is coming out of you. I'm so fully and thoroughly aware of that. I encounter that later with students, like they'd write something and they felt like they were just pouring their souls out. So it was, there is a responsibility that comes with being careful with particularly writers who are unaccustomed to what it feels like to be edited, because if you've never experienced that before, and then an editor says, well, this is you don't need this, your grammar is not is what it should be, like a lot of that can come at an author as a sort of a wave of, oh my God, look, I didn't do it right, oh my gosh, I must be terrible, and that's not the case. So Mecca, you mentioned having like not a great experience previously with an editor, and I will say sometimes that's just personalities. Like some
uncomfortable.
Like a relationship, like a professional relationship, like you meet a dentist, like I really don't like having that person's fingers in my mouth, or just someone that you encounter and you have them do work and you're working together and you're just like, this is not working, it's not clicking, I don't feel the harmony, I feel like I'm not being heard or understood. So it is, I think, with an editor as well, because look, this is, it is a nuts and bolts thing. The goal, of course, is a manuscript or chapter or whatever it happens to be that is that has a certain level of polish, that is readable, that still resonates with the author's voice, but perhaps and hopefully in an elevated way, in a way that is publishable, in a way that will come across to the readers, particularly if a reader is purchasing this, this work, that okay, this is a quality text, that this is well written and well conceived, and I hear the author's voice, but I also sense that there is a skill apparent in the work. So, and editors will have different approaches. Like for me, I like to begin just with, let me just read the work. I just want to read it, no pen in hand. I'm just going to go through it and just sort of form impressions, not judgmental impressions, but just impressions of, okay, like maybe like as I would be reading a student's work. Okay, maybe this person needs a little more assistance with developing, narrative content or the content or the trajectory of focus or whatever that might be.
Something you keep it where that you're still using their voice.
Absolutely. I try as best I can to maintain that, and sometimes folks sometimes will write in the way that they speak, and sometimes that works beautifully, and other times it's okay, I can preserve something of this attitude here, but I want it to come across in a more polished way. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm making that person sound like someone they're not. And Mecca, you've been edited by me, so I think you can attest to that. It's a good editor does not erase the author's voice. A good editor allows that voice to come through, because beyond the tone and diction and so forth, it's the message and it's the energy and so forth, and it's that's I think a good editor works to preserve that.
And that's what makes so what I believe in is that is what makes a difference with the editor and the author, because I truly believe the relationship has to be there. I truly believe that there has to be like an understanding, because not everybody have the same writing abilities.
Right.
Or there are like a lot of people have where sometimes when they write emotions, and it's like hard that, but the sometimes it's like it's not coming out the right way, but when it come out, you just let it come out, versus saying no, I'm not going to put that there. No, that's too emotional. I can't put it. I don't care. I'm just going to put it in. I could care less about whatever judgment. And you said something good when you said no judgment, because a lot of times what people do is when they read something, especially when it's being edited for the reason that there's judgment involved, and you said there is no judgment. So I think that's a big thing what you said with no judgment, because that is important, because sometimes that information could be so difficult to put on paper, and I feel like the editor should understand that aspect, and not judge the person, because you don't know what's going on, their emotion, their spiritual and their physical aspect when they're doing it.
And particularly, my most recent projects have been anthologies that deal with topics that thematically are difficult. Like life stuff that has happened,
trauma.
Yes, exactly. You've referred to the loss of your husband, and then just sort of the cascade of traumatic events that fell out from that. Like it's reverberating effect in your life. And I find I would hope that an editor would recognize that, and I think most qualified, skilled editors absolutely do. They recognize that writing is an emotional, evocative, cathartic process. Art, like you said, sometimes you're just getting that stuff out and on paper. The first time you look at it, and this is what I'm leading up to here is the editing process is all about revisions. And sometimes I can look at a piece of work or a chapter piece of work and edit it in one go. Sometimes I need to look at it twice, maybe
Mm-hmm.
additional time. Sometimes, like the author, I need to step back from it, just walk away from it, process it. How is this gonna, how is this gonna go? How is the sound? Is there something that's not working in terms of the chronology of the narrative,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it might be?
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that I'm throwing lots of information out there, meant to be sort of
But
high
it's needed. The
level,
information that you're throwing is needed. So
but
a lot of people understand.
yeah, what you said this relationship between the author and the editor, I think that's hugely important. The trust factor there, that
Mm-hmm.
that the author understands. Okay, I believe that this person who is looking at my work is going to help me, not judge me or pull the rug out from under me. But additionally, this person is going to help me by making me better, which might mean that I'm going to push you to do some more work, or I'm going to push you to, to answer questions that seem undeveloped or not there. Like in that case, like when I see sort of a developmental editor and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, there's this one sentence that refers to something that's clearly a major event in your life and you're leaving it behind.
Yep.
I'm like, whoa, hold on. This is important to your story. Like you can't just say that in one sentence and leave it. This is part of why, the emotion of your story is meaningful. And so there are things like that where as an editor, I'll kick it back to the writer and I'll say, here's some things. I need you to answer these questions. I don't want you to go back to that chapter or that manuscript. I just want you to answer these questions on a brand new blank piece of paper so that you were clear on what you're doing.
I remember that. I remember that process.
Right.
I remember that process. I said, what? Oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, you could just take that out. Oh wow, she really made this amazing. Like I was like, oh, she understood me.
Right.
That's how I felt when I seen it personally.
And
I said, oh, she understood me. I said, oh, there was no judgment. Thank God. I would, it's like, cause you were like, it's like when you're starting out with something, it's like you have a space. I don't call it fear, but it's like, man, somebody else is about to read something.
Oh, yeah.
But then if somebody else is about to read it, I got to be open for other people to read it. So, okay, brace yourself. And that's what I feel like I did in the midst of that space.
Yeah, that's exactly, I think, what it's like. And, all those years of teaching and writing workshops with students, I've witnessed that over and over and over again. Like students would be I'm like serious anxiety that would in them, and it'd be like, okay, we're gonna workshop your piece as a class. You mean my piece is going to be on the projection screen and everyone is reading and looking at it at the same time? And I'm like, yes, but we're in a safe space. This is a workshop. It's going to make you better. Everybody here wants you to win. And I think it's the same. Well, at least that's my attitude. For, like I said, all those years being a teacher of writing, I feel I bring that into my process in editing because, I mean, anyone who comes to me, I want them to win. I want everybody who writes for it to sell, for it to fly, for it to be heard. Maybe it's true. We can't guarantee that, of course, but the idea here that you cultivate a good working relationship and that you develop some confidence. And okay, maybe you're not be Toni Morrison. That's okay. And like, look, she's 1 in a million. That's why she stands out.
That's true. That's true.
That your attempt to, put your story on paper, to give it a voice, to see it written down in front of you isn't a valuable process.
You know what I want you to do for them? I want you to kind of give them like a bullet of what you're going to work on at the Visionaries Author Summit.
Okay. All right. Because I only have 30 minutes and I get the feeling that we've already been talking 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're almost done.
We're almost done. And I feel like we could go on for another hour. Like
I do too. Don't worry. We're going to come back.
But at the Visionary Author Summit, right? First of all, I want you to be prepared for some things that are high level, good information, but sort of along the lines of what we're talking about here. And there will be some time for question and answer, I believe. And even if there isn't, I believe there's an opportunity for you to submit questions. But my notion is to help you understand, number one, what an author's fundamental nuts and bolts job is, what kind of author you need, you know, and then what your role is in that responsibility and helping to cultivate that and helping to drive your work forward. Because you know, it's not, I really don't believe that, like, when you hand your work, that's it, I edit it and I hand it back to you and we're done. I really do believe that there's some give and take, and usually when I do editing, it's a you know, like there's a first round and a second round, and then we decide, all right, are we good? And you know, it's a collaboration. It is a collaboration. Yep. So we'll talk about that at the Visionary Author Summit. Yeah. And then beyond that, like I said, we could, Nneka, we could talk for an hour or more about.
Yes, we did do that too.
Right. And aspects of the writing process and the revision process and what it's like to have a coach, you know, to have an editor. Well, you know, we call them coaches now. I was always professor, right? So, yep. You know, whatever it is, professor, coach, writing helper, workshop, whatever it is, you know, you got someone, a sounding board, someone who's helping you get better, you know. So, and the next time you write, you know, my hope is, as it would be if I were in a course teaching you how to do this, that the next time you approach a writing assignment or a writing project or whatever it is, that you begin to internalize some of that stuff that, you know, like okay, do you see that, you know, there should be a chronology, or there should be a clear sort of developmental arc, if you will. And, and hey, start working on, you know, using your semicolon in a different way, or whatever it might be. It might be a little teeny tiny grammatical thing or a punctuation thing, or it might be a bigger sort of, all right, I need to develop sort of an approach to how I bring my ideas together and develop them on the page. You begin to internalize that the more that you're learning through the process.
So see how she said you're learning through the process? With that, I want you to give them something inspirational, like a positive word or a sentence to get them going, to get them moving. The brains.
Okay. Something that was said to me many, many years ago. I've never forgotten it because it's true. Writing is thinking. All right. So when you start writing on a page, you are engaging cognitive thought. All right. You don't just write one sentence, you keep writing, because doing the writing means that you are thinking, you are developing here. Also, writing is a learned skill. You might think right now, I'm not a writer, I'm not graceful with language. I just, you know, like these people who can sit down and write an email and it's perfect, and I have to do 6 different drafts of it to make sure that I think I'm getting across my idea. Writing is a learned skill. You will get better at it the more you do it. Just like, yoga, right? Like walks into a yoga class for the first time in their lives and they're like, I'm not flexible, I'm not strong, I don't know how to do that. You're learning. You come to the class to learn how to do it. It's a process, and you get better by devoting yourself to the practice, right?
That's right.
Writing,
so true.
Same with playing golf or tennis. Same with cooking. The more you do it, the better you become at it. And there might be certain things that you have a natural proclivity for, and other things that you need more help with. But I would say, number one, that writing is thinking. Trust that. Number two, writing is a learned skill that even if you're not, you know, a Pulitzer Prize level, whatever, someone who writes for the New York Magazine, it doesn't mean that you cannot become more proficient as a writer. So just don't give up, you know.
That's right. You guys heard that. Don't give up. Make sure you guys do what you're doing. Take those words of wisdom and run with it. Write your book. Make it happen. And I say to you, I'm going to give you this much, and I've been doing this for the past few days. Allow God to speak to you. Keep your ears open. And here's that mantra. Father God, allow me to see what I need to see, hear what you need me to hear, think what you need me to think, speak what you need me to speak, feel what you need me to feel, and move the way you need me to move, right? I want you guys to take that, run with that, utilize that, make that something that you open up to, and be vulnerable to accomplish your book, right? And may you be vigilant, self-disciplined, and well-balanced. And yes, you continue to move with greatness. From the microphone check, 1, 2, 1, 2, wicka, wicka, boom, boom. Peace. See you guys later. Thank you so much.